I don't know who's gonna be surprised by this statement, but I like sparkles. And I honestly think that a lot of adult women like sparkles. We wouldn't be buying a lot of makeup if we didn't. We wouldn't be wearing jewelry if we didn't. Even if you see a lady whose style is rather refined and not as expressive or over the top as it could be, I think it's safe to say that we all like sparkles. So it won't really be a surprise to anyone that I like Infinity Nikki. Yeah, I don't look like I would fit style-wise, but honestly, if I was rich, you have no idea how many sparkly dresses from Etsy I would own right now, together with a castle to probably run with that clothing up and down the stairs to my heart's content. So there are a lot of looks and dresses that are very magical and princess-like that really appeal to me, and I might have binge played it a little bit, but I have collected over 300 pieces of clothing in this game in like the past 4 days. And there's only 1,300 pieces of clothing that currently exists in the game to date, so that is definitely saying something, because you see, when we can't be completely creative with ourselves, because we are not living in a world where we are all rich and can own infinite wardrobes. First of all, that wouldn't even work. Style-wise. Well, style-wise? More like resources-wise. God damn it, I had... Where are we going? We can express ourselves through things like video games. And believe it or not, but there was a time when I was growing up when there were games that were targeted towards women, and there were games that were seen more as boys' games. And I kind of want to talk about that. But to talk about that, we have to quickly just leave Infinity Nikki, so I will see you back at my Chrome browser with, unfortunately, a lot less background music. This game's background music, very pretty. Hello, welcome back to my browser, and welcome to my childhood. You see, there is a slight problem with games targeted at girls. Majority of it were quite low quality internet games, or as we're gonna later look at, it was shovel-ware produced in unclear countries at like 3-week intervals. They weren't amazing games, but they catered to the inborn need to dress up and design and make pretty that a lot of girls seem to spawn into this world with. And at some point, that everybody started to look down on that severely. So let's just start from, well, my childhood. This is a compilation of pictures of old browser sites that existed on Girl Gamers Reddit, which is a thing that I have found out today after doing my research. And when I went there, I found about what I expected. A lot of people engaged in Infinity Nikki, a lot of people engaged in dating sims, and a lot of people engaged in games that are seen more as unisex or male targeted. It's really a mish and mash, and I feel like if we deny this part that's very sparkly and girly and don't know, design, dress up, friendly, wholesome things oriented, we end up with a serious gap in the market, and it benefits absolutely no one. So this is all of the things that you could have had if you were a 90s kid growing up in 2000s. It wasn't much, and it wasn't very good quality. There were like hundreds of dress-up games that were more or less the same thing over and over again, just quickly mass-produced, but it was there. And it meant a lot to people. It mattered to all the little girls, and probably not so little girls, considering that currently millennial women are looking back on this sort of thing with nostalgia and a want to participate yet again. Yet we live at a time when there's a lot less of that now. So let me just show you the shovel-ware part of this. There were games catered to girls that weren't just browser games and weren't just quick dress-up doll games. They were trying to sell themselves on the fact that they're catering to girls, which means that they weren't really putting in much effort outside of that. Hence, cue the Imagine series from Ubisoft that had 36 titles, and on average, they released a title every 3 to 4 weeks. I am not kidding. What can you put into a game in 3 to 4 weeks? Not much, actually. So, they were about as good as you can imagine a 3 to 4 week development cycle shovel-ware title being, which is not very good. And obviously, releasing a lot of shovel-ware produces a lot of angry rants and articles, for this whole genre was just seen as an attack on women. Women are just as capable as men. They play games that are the same as the games that men play. Therefore, trying to put them into a box of games where you're a fashion designer, or where you're a mother, or where you're taking care of babies is just demeaning from the point of view of a lot of these articles. This article that I found really encapsulates the decade of about 2010s to probably a bit less than 2020, really. It's around 10 years, but when attitudes towards more female-oriented games were very bad and negative. For I was going to university at that point, and I definitely lived through a phase of I am not like the other girls that like all of the shiny and sparkly things. I like real things and real jobs and real games, which are not girl games. So let's just read the article, which is more of a time capsule at the moment, and the anger that the author has expressed when they were writing it. Ubisoft makes games for girls that I want to kill with fire. The other day, I stumbled across a link to the sort of game that makes me cringe. Imagine Fashion Party. According to Amazon, the key features are: express your individual creativity in workshops, including hair, makeup, clothing, and accessories. Use the Wii remote and nunchuck as scissors, hairbrushes, makeup applicator, and more. Make your models perform the right moves to show off your designs in front of fierce judges. Design and creation mode compete in the reality show and challenge friends in minigames. Roll out your collection in a photo shoot and catwalk show, and share it with your friends via Wi-Fi. Facepalm. But then I noticed that this train wreck of a game was by Ubisoft. I was curious about what other girls' games they might have in their lineup. So I did a little poking around and discovered that Imagine is actually its own line of video games, with at least 37 titles for the DS and Wii. I think there may be a few that aren't showing up on Amazon. Even with the duplicates, that's still a pretty impressive number of titles. Most, though, if not all, games revolve around an occupation. Admittedly, a few of the titles are duplicates. There are 3 fashion designer titles, 2 rockstar titles, 2 teacher titles, and 2 vet titles. But there's still a pretty impressive list of careers represented, including things like fashion designer, and fashion stylist, and makeup artist, and salon stylist. In fact, a large portion of the careers represented by Imagine titles are stereotypically feminine roles, and even the ones that aren't are ridiculously infantilized or feminized. For instance, instead of Imagine veterinarian, there are 2 Imagine animal doctor titles. Do they think that girls are too stupid to understand words longer than 2 syllables? And what about resort owner and boutique owner? Are these the only types of businesses that little girls should aspire to own? Even the sports titles are for sports that are traditionally acceptable female sports, like cheerleading, ice skating, and gymnastics. Just for shits and giggles, I made a tally of represented careers and counted by job categories. They were totally made up by me. Duplicate careers are counted, which means that all 3 fashion designer titles were counted under fashion, etc. I also color-coded the resulting chart to help illustrate my point. Medicine is orange because it's a bit of a stereotype, but the titles are for doctors, not nurses, which is a more traditional stereotype. If I click into their chart and try to zoom in, 5 are in sports, 2 are in business, 6 are in other, 3 are in medicine, 3 are in babysitting, 9 are in fashion, 7 are in creative or performing arts, and 2 are in parties. Now I need to zoom out my own browser because them big letters be jump scaring me. Look at that! 9 titles just for fashion. 9. Almost a quarter of all of their titles are devoted to telling girls that they should find fashion fun and important. Arg! Out of all of the careers that might make interesting games that exist out there, Ubisoft couldn't find careers that didn't involve either being pretty or making things look pretty? Okay, so Ubisoft wants to market to girls who like girly things, you might be saying. And that might be reasonable, but then how does one explain the Imagine Babies series of titles? Imagine Babies, Imagine Party Babies, and Imagine Babies Fashion. That just takes the patronizing tone to a whole new level. Not only are we going to try to sell your games about babies, but we're also going to give it a cutesy misspelling since you girls should be worrying more about babies and looking pretty than spelling. Sigh. Even then, I might be able to forgive them if I hadn't gone looking for screen captures of Imagine games. Sweet 16, a game about trying to become popular through throwing the best parties ever. Oh my god, OMG. Right, makeup artist. Screen capture from the Wii minigame in which you have to color inside the lip-shaped lines. Yum. Wait, yawn, I meant. These letters are indeed very small on the screen right now, and I'm not wearing my glasses for fashion purposes because I am stupid. This is from one of the many fashion design titles. I forget which. From Champion Rider, because all girls love horses, am I right? Oh god, so many pastels, so much inane cuteness! All of this is just one series of girls' games by just one company. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of those shitty, stereotype-ridden, steaming piles of failure out there, all marketed as games for girls. And judging by the comments and reviews on Amazon, there seem to be a fair amount of mothers who play these games with their daughters. Way to teach your daughters about female empowerment, ladies. The thing that makes it all so ridiculous for me is that Ubisoft is pretty famous for its hyper-violent adult titles like Splinter Cell, Assassin's Creed, Prince of Persia, to name a few. So all of this games for girls bullshit is just another way in which the gaming establishment, read men, is telling gaming women that you do not belong here. And now I seriously want to buy as many copies as I can find of these horrendous games and set them on fire like the trash that they are. Gah! Well, strong opinion from 2011, everyone. Let's just set our screen to a Happy Fairy design game and sit in here for a while. So as you can see, being a girl and liking extremely girly things was looked down upon once upon a time, like about 14 years ago. And a lot of women that even did like those kind of things went with the peer pressure of going, no, I don't like those kind of things at all. The glitter thing is totally not triggering my magpie response inside my brain of take it and keep it close. And I totally don't have a full rock collection at home because colorful rock pretty. I know that stereotyping people is bad, and putting people into boxes is bad. Not all people that play Infinity Nikki are women at the moment. Not all people that played Pixie Hollow from Disney on their browsers were women when that was made. Not all of them were girls. There is a market for ultra feminine games out there. And not just for little girls. For one thing, I wouldn't recommend the gacha game to any kind of child because your bank will be gone, or your child will be playing a game that they will be finding very upsetting. Keep children away from gambling for as long as you can, I say. But there is a market. 20-year-old women, 30-year-old women, 40-year-old women or older. Some men, probably some very macho men, also really like the idea of playing a laid-back game that is sparkly, centers around collecting clothes, and makes you look like a pretty little princess that you're definitely not in real life. And perhaps it lets us live out some sort of fantasy. At least it does for me, because once again, there are some very, very sparkly dresses online that are very expensive. You're talking at least like £600 and above. It is not the kind of life that I can personally afford. There are some very beautiful gowns that are like £1,000 and above or £10,000 and above. Definitely something that I will never ever wear in my life because I am poor. That doesn't mean that my brain isn't triggered by pretty sparkly things, or that I don't dream of it, or that I don't have a goal for when my financial situation improves to get an interesting collection of hats and tiaras and other sorts of head accessories. Could I ever wear a tiara outside? No, I will film videos in those because there is just something in my brain that gets sparked by pretty shiny things and makes me want to put them on. So when there is a game that's released that obviously targets women and it is not shovel-ware, I am the target audience, and they targeted it pretty well. Because here I am binge playing it. And I think a lot of other women also found themselves in a similar situation, which just shows there is a market for these games out there. And not just with 5-year-old girls. There are plenty of adult women that love dress-up games and love life simulation games and love, okay, that might just be me, breeding mechanics, probably definitely me. I love Crusader Kings 3 for the ability to produce the wackiest looking children. Don't judge me. Yes, I will play a real-time strategy just to produce the wackiest looking children and have a big family and live out that weird fantasy. But that's the thing. So I am just here to tell you that I am glad that there is a game now that is targeting adult women. And then I'm gonna binge play it as much as I can. And then honestly, I want more. So if you have more of those games that target adult women, just like throw them out there. I am probably your target audience, together with a lot of other women. We do exist. We do like these kind of things. And nobody should ever feel demeaned or restricted from playing those sort of very sparkly feminine things. Because femininity is not a crime. And I feel like at a point as a society, when we want to push towards more equality, we kind of made it so. We kind of made it so that women that are unapologetically into women things feel like they need to pull back away from it because they would be a living stereotype, and that is bad. And we probably did the same thing for men, honestly. I'm not experienced with hypermasculinity, so I can't really say. If you want to take this video as anything, and I know that my videos are very rambly, be unapologetically you, even if that includes liking very stereotypical things. If that includes liking very non-stereotypical things, also go you. Go and do what makes me happy, and for my magpie brain, having a large collection of clothes inside a video game that is fairly non-violent and makes me feel like a Disney princess, yeah, it really appeals to me, thank you. And I'm happy that that is an option now. It was sad that it wasn't for a long time, because we wanted to not stereotype people, and as such, the choice to self-stereotype kind of disappeared with it. I am happy that we're seeing this, and I am also happy that there are other games that are on my wish list that are in similar vein, that are either life simulators or just really cozy, friendly, little games that are just there for the purposes of chilling, that also allow you to get a large collection of customization as you go along. I am happy that these are an option now, and I am welcoming the new cycle of games for girls. Well, really games for everyone, but stereotypically they're made to appeal to women. And I'm hoping that in this cycle, we get more quality and less shovelware, because nobody deserves to be confined to playing shovelware titles or have absolutely no choice outside of that. That's why I don't like market monopolies. But everyone deserves to at least have something out there that caters to their tastes, no matter how stereotypical or non-stereotypical their tastes are. So I hope that you learned something today. I know that my audience are probably largely not female oriented, as I like things that are normally more spooky and gothic. And I am sorry to say, but we're gonna be covering some other topics later down the line, because the kind of videos that I have in my brain, they're gonna be very weird, let's just say it like that, because I want to cover my relationship with gacha games, and I'm gonna do that through Infinity Nikki, which probably isn't the visuals that appeal to everyone the most, but it serves the purpose of what I have to say. And then I want to cover interactive online elements that aren't entirely massively multiplayer, as Dark Souls messages and Infinity Nikki photos that you can just find in the open world. Dark Souls and Infinity Nikki, that's a combination. But I understand that this isn't the kind of topics that appeal to absolutely everyone, but this is my channel, goddammit. And sometimes I will talk about a cult, and sometimes I will talk about very girly things. So if you just have like an inkling that you might like anything else from what I have on offer, please, go and take a look at our stockpile of videos. This channel has existed for 14 years. I'm pretty sure that you're definitely gonna find quite the stockpile behind me, or, on the channel that you're viewing this on. And if you like what you see, consider subscribing. I would love to get my channel somewhere, and I understand that having absolutely no focus and jumping from topic to topic is definitely hurting it. But god damn it, this is my channel and I have things to say. And I will say them in this tone if I have to. Thank you for bearing with me. And thank you so much if you're my Patreon subscriber, which helps me fund my relationship with video games, most of which end up actually costing money. So yeah, it helps me to reinvest back into my channel. One day, maybe I'll experience financial stability, and in that case I can also invest Patreon money into beautiful head accessories, which I'm currently just gonna continue seeing them in my dreams. It's not even like they're that expensive. You can get pretty impressive stuff on Etsy for like £50, but that's like £50 a piece. If you want a collection of hats, tiaras, and other bullshit that you can put on your head, it's quite the cost. And I do want to make it my life's goal to have that at some point, probably in possibly the near future, like the next 10 years will do. Thank you, universe, for listening to me. Let's work towards that. Anyway, I'm gonna see you in my other videos that are gonna be less stereotypically girly outside of those topics that I just already mentioned. But god damn it, world, I am a girl, and I'm definitely gonna make everybody know that by producing videos about how much I am happy that stereotypically girly things are coming back again, because I am so here for it. So thank you for watching, and I hope I'm gonna see you in my other videos. Toodaloo.